The Rwandan Civil War, a tragic conflict that shaped a nation. Chapter 1. The Roots of Conflict. The Rwandan Civil War was a brutal conflict that raged from 1990 to 1994, leaving an indelible mark on the nation. But to truly understand the war, we must first look at Rwanda's history. For decades, tensions between Hutus and Tutsis simmered beneath the surface. Rwanda's colonial past played a significant role in these divisions. During Belgian rule, 1916 to 1962, the colonial government favored the Tutsi minority, granting them privileges in education, government, and business. The Hutu majority, resentful of this favoritism, rebelled in 1959, leading to a violent revolution that ousted Tutsi leaders and established a Hutu-led republic in 1962. As years passed, thousands of Tutsis fled to neighboring countries like Uganda, Burundi, Tanzania, and Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Many of them, particularly in Uganda, formed a rebel group known as the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, determined to reclaim their homeland. This desire for return, combined with political instability in Rwanda, set the stage for the Rwandan Civil War. Chapter 2. The War Begins, 1990 to 1991. On October 1, 1990, the RPF launched a surprise attack on Rwanda from Uganda, marking the beginning of the civil war. The Rwandan government, led by President Juvenal Habyarimana, was caught off guard. The RPF, led by Paul Kagame, was well-trained and disciplined, but the Rwandan armed forces, FAR, backed by French and Zairian troops, quickly pushed the rebels back. The government responded with brutal repression. Thousands of Tutsi civilians and suspected RPF supporters were arrested, tortured, or executed. The government's propaganda machine, fueled by Hutu extremists, painted the Tutsis as enemies of the state, further deepening ethnic hatred. By 1991, after months of fighting, both sides realized that a swift victory was impossible. The war dragged on, devastating communities and forcing thousands of civilians to flee. The international community pressured both sides to negotiate a peace deal, but neither the government nor the RPF was willing to back down completely. Chapter 3. Peace Talks and Broken Promises, 1992 to 1993. Under international pressure, the Arusha Accords were signed in August 1993 in Tanzania. The agreement aimed to end hostilities, integrate the RPF into the national army, and create a power-sharing government. However, many Hutu extremists saw the accords as a betrayal. They feared that sharing power with the Tutsis would lead to their downfall. In response, they began preparing for mass violence. Hate radio stations like Radio Television Libra de Mil Collines, RTLM, spread propaganda calling the Tutsis cockroaches and urging Hutus to take up arms. Meanwhile, the RPF remained suspicious of the government's intentions, preparing for a resumption of hostilities should the peace deal collapse. Chapter 4. The Spark. The President's Assassination, April 6, 1994. On the night of April 6, 1994, a plane carrying President Habyarimana and Burundi's President Cyprien Ntaryamira was shot down over Kigali. To this day, it remains unclear who is responsible. Some blame the RPF, while others argue that Hutu extremists orchestrated the attack to justify a planned genocide. Within hours of the plane crash, chaos erupted. Roadblocks were set up, and Hutu militias known as the Interahamwe and Impuzamugambi began systematically massacring Tutsis and moderate Hutus. The Rwandan Genocide had begun, intertwining itself with the ongoing civil war. Chapter 5. The Rwandan Genocide and the Final Battle, April-July 1994. For 100 days, Rwanda descended into hell. Over 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus were brutally murdered. The international community did little to intervene, despite mounting evidence of mass killings. While the genocide unfolded, the RPF saw an opportunity to end the war. Paul Kagame led a full-scale military offensive, sweeping across Rwanda, capturing territory and pushing government forces back. By July 4, 1994, the RPF had seized Kigali, effectively winning the civil war. On July 18, 1994, the war officially ended, and Kagame declared victory. Chapter 6. Aftermath and Rebuilding Rwanda. The aftermath of the war was devastating. White heavy checkmark millions were displaced. White heavy checkmark Hutu extremists fled to Zaire, fueling future conflicts. White heavy checkmark Rwanda was in ruins, its economy and infrastructure destroyed. White heavy checkmark the world faced guilt for failing to intervene. Paul Kagame took control, leading Rwanda's post-war recovery. His government focused on reconciliation, justice, and economic development. The Gacaca court system was introduced to bring genocide perpetrators to justice, and Rwanda experienced one of the most remarkable recoveries in African history. Chapter 7. The war's lasting impact. The Rwandan Civil War and genocide remain dark chapters in human history. However, Rwanda emerged from the ashes to become one of Africa's fastest-growing economies. The nation proved that even after unimaginable tragedy, healing and progress are possible. Like, comment, and subscribe for more war stories. What do you think? Could the Rwandan Civil War have been prevented? Let's discuss in the comments. If you like my video, like and subscribe my channel.